Hello, interested stakeholders. This presentation provides a brief overview of the district's report entitled Warehouse Indirect Source Rule (ISR) Framework Supplement, or simply the supplement. Staff will be presenting the report's findings to the Governing Board later this summer. Before discussing the supplement in more detail, brief background information will be presented to provide a timeline of the district's evaluation of a possible Warehouse Indirect Source Rule (ISR). Please note that the supplement itself does not include any recommendations to the Governing Board on the development of an ISR. The district will request direction from the Governing Board at a future meeting. In 2019, California Assembly Bill 423 added specified duties to the San Diego County Air Pollution Control District, or district, including a requirement to consider adopting an indirect source rule to address pollution from mobile sources that is associated with stationary sources such as ports, warehouses, and distribution centers. An indirect source is defined in the Clean Air Act as a facility, building, structure, installation, real property, road, or highway which attracts or may attract mobile sources of pollution. To address the requirements of AB 423, in 2023, district staff prepared a report entitled Options and Considerations for Reducing Indirect Source Emissions at Warehouses, Distribution Centers, and Ports, also referred to as the ISR framework. Staff presented the report's preliminary findings at the June 2023 Governing Board meeting. The board approved staff's recommendation to convene a working group, otherwise known as the Warehouse Working Group, WWG. The board also instructed staff to prioritize under-resourced communities and consider smaller warehouses and warehouses near sensitive receptors, for example, residences, hospitals, schools, etc. The supplement discussed in this presentation provides an update to pertinent sections found in the ISR framework for warehouses and distribution centers and provides an overview of the feedback received from the WWG. As directed by the Governing Board, between September 2023 and October 2024, staff conducted 10 virtual public meetings with WWG participants, comprising almost 20 hours of in-depth technical conversations about indirect source emissions. The WWG was composed of key local community, environmental, industrial, and government stakeholders interested in the freight and warehousing sectors, community health, and air quality. The WWG was convened by design to collect varying perspectives from a wide variety of stakeholders. As such, the group was not typically able to reach a consensus on most topics. While such agreements were not anticipated, the WWG nonetheless continually provided thoughtful and meaningful information for the district's consideration in a courteous and respectful manner. One topic that had some general agreement was having a non-regulatory incentive option or options to be available in some capacity. From the industry's perspective, several topics were frequently elevated for further analysis. These included better evaluating the impacts and emission reductions associated with CARB mobile source regulations, concerns whether identified warehouses were actually engaging in goods movement activity, zero-emission vehicle (ZEV) truck and infrastructure availability issues, difficulty in tracking truck activity at potentially subject facilities, and noting the unique circumstances of warehousing activity along the international border. From the environmental perspective, a comment was frequently elevated for the Community Emissions Reduction Plan, CERP, goals to be prioritized to further improve the health and wellness of residents in disadvantaged communities, and to consider the possible cumulative impact of many smaller warehouses clustered around sensitive receptors. It was also suggested that a rule, as opposed to a voluntary incentive program, could potentially provide more certainty for achieving emission reductions and could result in more localized emission reductions if framed in a way that could target such facilities in disadvantaged communities. From an implementation perspective, the district highlighted the importance and difficulty of achieving region-wide emission reductions in a manner that does not come into conflict with federal preemption issues while achieving localized emission reductions. Staff also highlighted continued knowledge gained from the South Coast Air Quality Management District's implementation of their Rule 2305 to prepare for future challenges if a rulemaking is pursued. The supplement released by the district includes updated baseline emissions and emission reduction estimates associated with a possible warehouse ISR in San Diego County. To estimate emissions, staff first developed an inventory of warehouse facilities in the San Diego region using information maintained by a commercial real estate analytics firm. The warehouse inventory information was combined with transportation modeling data and analyzed to derive truck trip rates for various warehouse size categories. These truck trip rates were then used to estimate baseline emissions attributed to warehousing activities throughout the county. Additional information about baseline emissions, inventory, truck trip rates, and methodologies can be found within the supplement. Staff now estimates that a warehouse ISR, if developed and adopted, is estimated to achieve between 13 and 27 tons per year of nitrogen oxide, NOx, emission reductions, and between 0.1 and 0.3 tons per year of particulate matter, PM2.5, emission reductions. These estimates are about half as much as what the district estimated in the original framework document. The new potential NOx emission reduction estimates for a warehouse ISR, presented in context with other regulations recently adopted by the district, are included in this graph. These emission reductions are estimated to result in 33 to 68 fewer health incidences reduced per year, such as hospital visits and asthma symptoms. Total health benefits or avoided healthcare costs and lost productivity are estimated to be as low as $411,000 per year to as high as $1.1 million per year. The estimated total compliance costs to affected industry would be between $11.9 and $19.3 million per year. This would equate to an average of $29,000 to $49,000 per facility per year. The estimated cost effectiveness of a warehouse ISR would be between $362 to $464 per pound of NOx reduced. The estimated cost effectiveness of a warehouse ISR is greater than the values for other rules the district has adopted, in addition to the cost-effectiveness limits typically allowed in current grant programs, as well as limits established by the South Coast Air Quality Management District. The estimated district costs for rule development and administration of the ISR are estimated to be a one-time cost of approximately $1 million to prepare required socioeconomic impact assessment (SIA) and CEQA documents, and web portal development, and up to $1 million per year for ongoing costs, including web portal maintenance, enhanced enforcement activities, and additional staff as needed. The district expects that one-time costs would not be able to be recouped. The district acknowledges that the cost-effectiveness values are greater than those initially estimated in the ISR framework, which was previously $62 to $116 per pound of NOx reduced. The difference between the cost-effectiveness values was anticipated due to greater costs per square foot and lesser emission reductions estimated in the supplement. The supplement is now available for public review from the district's webpage. Use the QR code provided to access the webpage and view the report. The district is soliciting written comments on the supplement. Comments may be sent via email to apcdrules@sdapcd.org. Please submit all written comments by the due date noted within the supplement report. The district will consider all comments prior to further direction being provided by the Governing Board. For more information on the Governing Board meeting, please visit the district's webpage using the link provided. We appreciate your time and thank you for viewing this presentation.